Okay, this video is going to be in two parts, and we're going to try and make a word game and a maths game in Python. Remember, this is for the advanced students only, the ones who have been doing the two Python lessons prior to this one. If you haven't done those, you can go back through Seesaw, find lesson 1 and lesson 2. You need to have done those before you do this activity. Okay, so we're going to start a brand new file. We go File, New. This is our new Python window. As we always do, the first thing we're going to do is save this file. So let's go File, Save. I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm on a Mac. You can do this on a PC, remember. I'm going to call this Word and Maths Game.py, right? Word and Maths Game.py. I'm saving it to my desktop, and I'm just going to hit Save. Okay, so there we go. I've saved that to my desktop. Now, we're going to write the word game first. It's going to be the first part of this lesson. Then we're going to write the maths game at the end. And then I'm going to leave it to you to see if you can combine the two games to come up with something really interesting. Now, the first thing we're going to do, as we did in the last lesson, is we're going to put a comment in. So I put a hash at the start, then I put my name, so I know who's writing the program. I check my date. It's the 24th of June. 2020. Okay, and I'm going to call this Word and Maths Game. Okay, so there's my first comment. Now, because we're going to do the word game first, I'm going to also write word game, a second comment, to say that this is the start of the word game section. Now, what we're going to do in the word game is we are going to ask the user to input 3 different pieces of information, and then we're going to output a final sentence. Okay, so the first piece of information we want to collect is the user's name. So we create a variable called name. We did this last week, so if you can't remember that, go back and watch the video. I'm just creating a variable called name, and then I'm going to get an input statement from the user. So I write the word input, I put a set of brackets and my first inverted comma, and then I ask them, what is your name? Question mark, space, close inverted commas, close brackets. Now remember, I put the space in so that when they ask that question, they're not writing hard up against the question mark. There's actually a space before they type. Whatever they type will be stored in the variable called name. Right, next variable. I'm going to call this character, C-H-A-R-A-C-T-E-R, character, equals, and I'm going to get another input from my user. And I'm going to do my brackets again, my inverted commas, and this time I'm going to write, do you want to be an alien or spaceman? And then I'll put question mark, and then I'll put type A or S, space, close inverted commas, close brackets. Now this is an interesting sentence. It asks the user to input, do you want to be an alien or spaceman? But they don't have to write the whole words. All they have to do is type an A or an S. Okay, and then they'll put it in there. So if they type an A or an S, we need to do something about it. So let's go down here and let's do an if statement. If, and then we're going to use the variable, character, that's the name of this variable up here, is exactly equal, so put 2 sets of equals, to the letter A. So did you see I did inverted commas there so that it's the typing of the letter A. So if the user types the letter A, it's going to be an A in here. So if the character is exactly equal to the letter A, so if the user typed the letter A, then we're going to change character to equal the word alien. So now, if they press A, then the value of alien is going to be put into the character variable. All right, so that's a little bit hard to understand. Instead of having the user type the whole word alien, if they just type A, then we'll put the word alien in there for them. That's what we're going to do. Now, if they don't type the letter A, we'll do else. Then we'll put a colon. Now remember, on the else line, we talked about this last week, you don't put any argument in there, you only have else. So if they type the letter A, it's going to be alien. If they type anything else, any other thing that they type in there, then we're going to change character to equal the word spaceman. So inverted commas, close inverted commas. That's the end of that. That's the end of our if-else statement. So the user makes a decision. They ask a question and they answer that question. Then based on the answer that they give, character will either have the word alien in it or it'll have the word spaceman in it. Now I want to ask 2 more questions, but I don't want to type all of this stuff out again. I want to type out my input statement, but I don't want to type all this again. So I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to highlight all of that. I'm going to go edit and I'm going to go copy. Now if you know your keyboard shortcuts, you could just go Command C. Okay, let's type in my next question. And I'm going to put personality. Personality is going to be my next variable. And then I'm going to put an input and I'm going to ask the user, are you good or bad? Right, so it's a simple question. Are you good or bad? I press a space. Then I'm going to write type G or B. Close inverted commas, close brackets. Oh, I want to make sure there's a space in after that. Okay, now I copied that thing, so I'm going to press Command V, or I'm going to go up and go Edit, Paste. See, Command V. And now I've pasted that same loop down here. Except in this loop, we've got the word character, 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 character. This one we've got personality and then character, character. So we need to change those. So I'm just going to highlight that, copy that, paste it on here, Command V, Command V, Command V on my Mac. Now we've got, here's the character, here's what happens when they choose the character. Now we've got, here's personality, here's what happens when they choose personality. But they're not going to choose A, they're going to choose G or B. So we're going to change this one to a G, and we're going to write in here good. In fact, yep, good. And if they don't choose good, then they must be bad. Okay, so let's do one last question. Okay, let's see, do they want to save the world or do they want to destroy the world? So let's put result can be our next question. Input, brackets, inverted commas, do you want to save or destroy the world? Question mark, say, space, type S or D. Space, close bracket, close inverted commas, close bracket. Now I'm going to paste my oops, I have to copy and paste my if-else statement again. Command C, Command V, there we go. Now remember I used the word result this time, so I'm going to copy and paste that in place of personality. Result, result, result. Now I had S or D, so if I had S, then we are going to save the world. And if they don't save the world, then they're going to destroy the world. Okay, so now we've collected 4 pieces of information. We've collected the user's name, we've collected the character, we've collected their personality, and we've collected the result they want. Now we want to put all of that information we've collected together into one sentence. Now we're going to use a print statement, and we're going to say print, brackets, inverted commas. Now let's start our story. One day there was now one day there was now we want them to choose alien or spaceman, and we want to choose the personality. So let's close the inverted commas, put a comma, then let's put the word personality, which is going to get the information from the variable. Right, so now we're going to know whether they're a good or a bad person. Then we're going to get the character, comma, and then we're going to say named, comma, and then we're going to put their name in. Who wanted to, close brackets, comma, result, comma, the world. Now I'll explain all of this in just a second because this is a big one. Right, I'm going to move my screen over. I'm going to make my screen wider so we can read what I've done, and I will explain it. Here, we're going to do a print statement. So it's just going to put something up on the screen. And it's going to put up, one day there was a, and then we've got a comma in here and it says go and get the personality of the person. So it's either going to be good or bad. Then it's going to say go and get the character of the person. So it's either going to be alien or spaceman. Then it says type the word named and then go and get the person's name from up here. So we're collecting that information. And then we might even put in a comma space. So there'll be a comma after the person's name. Oh no, let's just leave it like that. Who wanted to, and then we'll get the result, which will either be save or destroy the world. So there we go. We've got 4 pieces of information. We've put the 4 pieces of information together into a sentence to see what will happen. So let's save that program. File, save. And let's run it and error check it because there could be some mistakes in this and we need to check those mistakes as we go along. Right, we go to here, we go run module, and it says what is your name? I'm going to put Nick, enter. Do you want to be an alien or spaceman? I'm going to be a spaceman today. Yes, enter. Are you good or bad? Well, I'm a good spaceman. Do you want to save or destroy the world? Well, if I'm good, I want to save the world. One day there was a good spaceman named Nick who wanted to save the world. Now there's a big space in there, so I'm wondering what have I done to put a big space in there? And if I go back and check my code, I put a space in there, and remember the comma gives me a space as well. So I just want to take that space out, and then I'll hit save again, Command S, and that should be ready to go. Now I've checked all the good side of it. Let's check the bad side of it and run it again. Run. Okay, what is your name? My name is Nick. Do you want to be an alien or a spaceman? I'm going to be an alien this time. Do you want to be good or bad? I want to be bad. Do you want to save or destroy the world? I want to destroy the world. One day there was a bad alien named Nick who wanted to destroy the world. So this is just a little word game that we've got to start with, where we've put all of our skills that we've learnt so far, creating variables, having inputs, having a print statement, and having an if-else statement, and we've put them all together to create a little word game. Now we're going to create a math game. So I'm going to put a hashtag down here, and I'm going to put maths game, and we'll start our maths game below. First thing I want to do is introduce the users to the maths game. So I'm just going to do a print statement, brackets, a couple of inverted commas, welcome to our maths challenge. Full stop. I'm going to use this funny /n that I used last time to go down a line. Let's write let, and I'm going to use an apostrophe S, which we also talked about in lesson 1. Let's start with addition. Addition means plus, right? So there's my first line. So we're welcoming the user to the game. Let's start with addition. Right, now we better give them some instructions for this game. Okay, you will be given 5 questions. Full stop, /n, so I get to my next line. If you get them all correct, comma, you will see the final message. The final message. right? Close my inverted commas, close my brackets, right? So we're going to make sure we give them a final message at the end if they get all 5 correct. I'm just going to move my screen over and just make it a little bit wider so we can see everything that I'm typing here. Now, what we want to do is we want to collect how many questions the user gets right, and we might as well collect how many questions they get wrong. So before my print statements, I'm going to create 2 more variables up here. The first one I'm going to put total, which will be the total correct, and I'm going to give that a value of 0, so it's got nothing in it at the moment. And I'm going to do how many do they get wrong, and I'll give that a total of 0 as well. So at the moment, we've got 2 variables in here. One's called total, one's called wrong, and they both have 0 as the value in them. Okay, so let's ask the first question. Now we want to make these input statements again because we want the user to type in the answer. So I'm going to call the first question 1. Let's make it an input, bracket, inverted commas, and let's just do simple, a simple plus sum to start with. 8 plus 5, close, space, close. There we go. So now the user will have to put the answer to 8 plus 5. I'm going to put an equals and a space in there as well. Okay, now I don't want to write this out 5 times, so I'm just going to copy that again. I'm going to paste it. So there's my 5 questions right there. I just need to rename each one of them. 2, 3. So remember, these are variables. 4, 5, and they're going to be the 5 answers that our contestant gives us. Okay, let's do this one a little bit harder. Let's do 11 plus, no, 8. 8. Let's do 3 plus 96. Let's do 21 plus 18. And let's do, I don't know, 12 plus 84. Okay, so now we've got 5 different plus sum questions in there with 5 different variable names. And now we need to work out whether our contestant is getting the answers right or wrong. Okay, so we're going to look at our total and we're going to look at our wrong and we're going to look at the questions we've got here and we're going to use an if statement. So we're going to if variable number 1 is exactly equal to, remember 2 equals means exactly equal to 5 plus 8 is 13, then we're going to say total equals 1. Okay, so we've added 1 point to total. Otherwise, which we use else, and remember there's no argument in an else statement, so we don't need 1, else wrong equals 1. Okay, so now we've dealt with the first question. We've dealt with number 1. They either got it right and their total went up, otherwise they got it wrong and then their wrong total went up. Okay, let's copy that again. Command C, paste it below, and this time we're going to be dealing with question number 2. And we want 11 plus 8, so we know that equals 19, so we want their answer to be exactly 19. If they get it correct, we want the total to be 1. Else we want the wrong to be 1. However, this doesn't work. There's a problem here because let's say they get the first question correct and it makes the total equal 1. Okay, that's great. So the total equals 1. Let's say they get the second question correct and then we're making the total equal 1 again, but that's not right because they got that one correct and they got that one correct. So you can't do that. So what we have to do is we have to do a little trick in this one. And what we do is we say the total equals whatever the total is plus 1 more. So we're going to say, okay, so now let's work out what that means. That means we're saying if they get the first question correct, the total is going to equal 1. If they get the second question correct, the total is going to equal whatever the total is at the moment, which is 1, plus 1 more. So it's going to go up by 1 if they got this correct. And in actual fact, we could use that line there up here, and that would even be better there because it's going to be total equals the total, well the current total is 0, plus one more. So that means it would equal 1. And then this time when it gets down here, it would be the total equals the current total, which is 1, plus one more, which means it would equal 2 if they got 2 correct. And we need to do the same thing with the wrong, right? So wrong plus 1. So that way, every time we add to it, we're adding to it. We're not writing over the top of it. We're adding to it every time if they get them right or wrong. Okay, so that's a little trick, and you'll come across that a lot where you go total equals total plus 1 or wrong equals wrong plus 1. It means you get the variable, you add 1 extra to what is already there. Okay, so now we've done question 1, question 2. We just need to copy that again and do 3, 4, and 5. So I'm just going to go here and go Command Paste, hit Return, backspace, return, paste, return, backspace, return, paste. Right, so question 1. Question 2. So this one needs to be question 3. This one needs to be question 4. This one needs to be question 5. Okay, now the answer to question 3 should be 99. So we change that to question 3, needs to be 99. The question 4 needs to be 39. Wow, I'm ending all in 9s. That's interesting. 39. That's question 4. And question 5 is going to be 96. So we change that to 96. So I know all the right answers are in there now. I hope I've got them all right. Now, I said at the start, if you get them all correct, you will see the final message. So we better write some final messages down here. If total is exactly equal to 5, which means they've got all of them right, so we've got total here. If they got them all right, then we're going to print brackets, inverted commas, inside that, you are a champion, exclamation mark. Otherwise, so we'll write else, colon, no argument, we're going to print bracket, unfortunately, you got, and then we're going to put a comma in here. We're going to write how many wrong they got in there, and then we better write the word wrong after it. So comma, inverted commas, wrong, close inverted commas, close bracket. So at the end, if they get all 5 right, it'll say you are a champion. But if they got some wrong, it'll say unfortunately you got, and then it'll tell them how many they got wrong. Okay? So that's the program. That's our little maths program. Now let's save that. File, save. Now let's run it again. Run module. We'll got to get all our alien stuff first because we still got that on there. I'll be a spaceman. I'll be a bad spaceman. I will destroy the world. There we go. Now, here we go. Welcome to our maths challenge. Let's start with addition. You will be given 5 questions. If you get them all correct, you will see the final message. 8 plus 5 equals, and I'm going to try and get them all correct this time so that we can see that it's all going to work properly. 13. 8 plus 11, 19. 99. 21 and 18 is 30. 39. And what do we got? 96. So when I hit enter here, it should say you are a champion. You are a champion. So I got them all right. Now let's try it again because we have to go through and debug our program. Let's run it again and try and make some mistakes. Right, let's just do this quickly. S, B, S. There we go. Here's our 8 plus 5. I'm going to put 12. Then I'll put 20. Then I'll put 99. Then I'll put 39 and I'll put 96. So I made 2 mistakes in there. So it should tell me I got 2 wrong. Unfortunately, you got 2 wrong. So you can see by checking the user's input for numbers here, we can write a program that comes up with different results. Then we can check the results by checking the variable at the bottom here, and we can output some sort of solution at the end. Now we've written 2 game type programs there. A word game where you can use the user's input to do different things. And we've created a math game where you can use the user's input to see what their score was in the end. What I would like you to do, apart from do these two games, which I think is a good start, I'd like you to see if you can come up with your own game that combines both programs, the word one and the maths one, and it has an interesting output at the end that the user gets to see what has happened at the end. Now, this is a pretty advanced program, so I'm really happy for the students who have been doing this extra Python stuff. You don't have to do it, but I'm really happy that you're doing it, and some of the results you've been producing have been absolutely fantastic. You should be really proud of yourself. Really well done, and next week will be the last one of these special programs, okay? Then I will give you a link to where I've also made 10 other Python tutorials that you can go online and get them, and I'll show you that next week. But for now, this is a lot of work to do. Good luck.